All right. Cops help masked Proud Boys terrorize kids at North Carolina Pride event. Multiple library patrons report on Facebook that they felt threatened and terrorized by masked Proud Boys and by the Deputies. Huh. I believe there is a phrase, cops and Klan go hand in hand. It comes to mind here. This is from Wilmington. According to patrons at a drag queen story event in the Pine Valley branch of the New Hanover, North Carolina library system, a group of 15 masked men terrorized them yesterday with the active assistance of Sherriff's deputies, forcing families with children as young as 17 months old to flee through a side door and preventing the library from being used for its ordinary purposes for as long as 90 minutes. 90 minutes. They just literally occupied a library. A paramilitary group aided by a state-sanctioned paramilitary group, a wing of the KKK, just literally occupied a library for 90 minutes and threatened children and random people that had nothing to do with anything. They were just trying to get some books, or they were just going to work that day. According to local news reports, deputies responded to a demonstration at the Pine Valley Library where a group of 4 parents brought a reported 6 children under 7 years old to listen to a drag queen read stories about diverse families. Then, according to parents and witnesses, all hell broke loose. They say the families and other library patrons were terrorized by a group of Cape Fear Proud Boys, who deputies escorted from the parking lot into the library and up to the door of the reading room. Multiple witnesses report that the demonstrators shouted obscenities through the door and screamed, "Bring out the drag queens, bring out the drag queens." Library patrons on Facebook report the deputies fist bumped the protesters. I don't know if protesters is the word I would use, and engaged in casual banter with them while they created a disturbance and ended the reading and forced librarians to hustle the patrons and children out through a side door for their safety. I have a question. Just hear me out. This is a hypothetical. If I went to a library and started screaming, "I'm going to kill conservatives," for 90 minutes, would cops come there and fist bump me and have a casual conversation, or would I be arrested? Just a quick question. If I were to go anywhere and scream, "I'm going to kill conservatives," for 90 minutes straight, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? Would the cops come out there and, "Oh, hey, bro," right? Or would they probably shoot and kill me and then drag my corpse into the river and throw it off a bridge? Sheriff's office denies allegations of unprofessional conduct. Oh, really? Huh. Well, the sheriff said so. I'm not going to read that. Multiple witnesses agree the statement is false, claiming deputies let the protesters scream through the door and did not try to stop them from disturbing the peaceful use of the library or from terrorizing the families and the performer inside of the reading room. Angie Smith Connie posted that she saw the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office escort the Proud Boys and their Klan into the building straight to the room where the children as young as 1 were with parents. While they shouted obscenities and threats, she, as the prosecutors, taunted parents and children inside and outside the library after the event was over, while still being escorted by deputies who did not act to protect the public. The children are not driving themselves to the library. Parents have the right to choose what they teach their children. Now, again, I want to be very clear. In Florida, Conservatives are like, oh, parental rights and education. Parents should be able to decide what their kids are able to be educated on. Parents decide. So when there's a gay person in class, they're not allowed to say that they're gay because the parents should decide when their kids are exposed to the subjects like gayness. It's the parents. If a teacher is gay, they got to be fired, right? Of course, because it's up to the parents. They get to decide when their kid learns about gay people. Until those parents decide, oh, I'm going to read a book about gay people or drag queens or trans people, whatever it is that they want. I'm going to read a book about this to my child. I make my own decision. I want to educate my child in this fashion. Now, all of a sudden, the state has to come in and tell them what they're not allowed to teach their children. Isn't that crazy? Think about this shit. Isn't this fucking insane? But again, hypocrisy is the identity of conservatism. Conservatism doesn't actually exist. What are they trying to conserve? It's a mythology. It's a religion. They want to create a society that has never existed, where gay people don't exist. Gay people have always existed. Transgender people have existed for thousands of years. Drag queens have existed for thousands of years. This isn't new. But conservatives love to rewrite history, and they want to return to an imagined past, a mythology that they've created in their minds, and they will literally change their talking points on a whim. 1 minute it's parental rights and education. 2 months later, it's parents have no rights. The state gets to decide what your kid learns and what your kid's not allowed to learn. Because it doesn't matter. Hypocrisy, logic, it's irrelevant to the conservative mind. The only thing conservatives care about is oppressing other people. That's it. The reasons that they use don't matter. It's not, the point is that they don't matter. The only thing that matters to the conservative mind is oppressing people that are different than them. That's it. The logic that they use changes every couple months. It can be the opposite of what it was a month ago. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. No one cares. Sandra Dawn posted that she watched these protesters scream at young children and their families as they exited the building. The sheriffs allowed those people to stand within feet of young children and scream at them. She asked, why on earth did the sheriffs allow these protesters to stand within feet of the doorways and go inside the building and stand outside of the room where the event was held? Why did the sheriffs not require these people to keep their distance? Witness Amy Holland said of the sheriff's office statement, this is a lie. At no time did deputies place themselves between rooms and protesters. The protesters showed up outside the library and HCSO, then escorted the Proud Boys and that's the sheriff's department, and other protesters. Again, I wouldn't use the word protesters here. I would use the word neo-Nazis or Klansmen. Back to the room where the event was taking place, where they shouted, bring out the drag queens so loudly and persistently that it shut down the event and terrified the children. Again, for 90 minutes. They just didn't let anyone use the library for 90 minutes. One mother tells reporters she felt blindsided. Emily Jones tells Star News that she took her 17-month-old daughter to the Pride event because she thought a library would be safe and peaceful. I felt like the story time was really one of the safest places I could take my daughter for a Pride event. I just felt like it's a library. It's probably pretty low risk. She says she felt nervous when she saw demonstrators gathered in the parking lot outside saying signs saying LGBT is grooming our kids and the library is responsible for child abuse. She added that she wished parents would have been notified prior to the event that safety was a concern. She did not say what she thought about deputies escorting protesters, blah, blah, blah. Again, I don't know why LosAngelesBlade.com, I don't know this outlet too well. I don't know why they're obsessed with the word protesters here. Community members expressed support for Proud Boys. While community reaction to the sheriff's Facebook statement is largely skeptical, some local residents are expressing solidarity with the Proud Boys. Kevin Rigsby, which, by the way, they're attaching their real names to this. This guy named Kevin is like, I hate the gay people and I'm proud. I'm going to let everyone know. Put it up on billboards. Kevin Rigsby hates the gays. And you know why they do this? Because they're proud. They're proud of the fact that their ideology is founded upon oppressing people that are different than them. And they are proud of the fact that there are people that live around them that are willing to harass the shit out of people for literally just existing. Biggest question, why was there a proud story time for young children? These are kids. They don't need the logic shoved down their throats too. Wait, they don't need this logic shoved down their throats too? Is he just like openly saying, yeah, logic? We don't need to teach kids logic. Pamela Eaton writes, sad children's minds are innocent. They don't need to hear this garbage. Bruce True writes, public library means open to the public. No private rooms, space exclamation point. No doubt they were indoctrinating little kids. First of all, every library I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot, has had private rooms. I would wager a guess. I would argue, I'd be willing to put money on this, that 100% of libraries in this country have private rooms. I'm willing to bet that. A lot of people do meetings at the libraries. Whenever I've worked at political campaigns, we've met at libraries and had access to a private room. You just, basically you reserve it. It's public, it's free. You just reserve it. Private rooms exist in libraries all across the country. So, this guy's a fucking moron. Those statements and others like them are getting pushback. Well represented by Alyssa Rangel, who writes, the children aren't driving themselves to the library. I already read that earlier. But, I mean, again, 1 minute it's parental rights and education. The next minute, parents have no rights. Let's take the kids. So, you can read the rest of that if you like, but this country is falling apart at the seams. You have paramilitary groups working with state-sanctioned paramilitary groups to terrorize people and commit pogroms, and it's all legal. Cool.